Buongiorno, buonasera, benvenuti amici, welcome my friends. My name is Vincenzo and welcome to my channel. And as you may know or know, my channel is Fountain Pen Therapy. Welcome to another weekly recap. And for those viewers who are joining us for the first time, here's the concept of my weekly recap. I give you everything you need in terms of fountain pen therapy. I get you some paper therapy, we'll get you some ink therapy, and we'll get you some pen therapy. But more seriously, I have various segments, and the segments are generally divided and usually divided as follows. I go through some of the new novelties or what's new arrivals or what's new in the market, starting with the Chinese pen market, and then take a look at some of the major online retailers to see if they've got something new new to offer that week. In addition to that, we'll take a look at some new notebooks that I've purchased. Take a look at those and use those in an ink swatching session where I will compare that notebook to Tomoe River paper. That is my favorite paper. And usually I will introduce to you maybe 3, 4, 5 inks every week, different inks, so you can take a look at them and appreciate them and see if they suit your fancy, whether you wish to order or not. That is totally up to you. The second portion will take a look at some of my kind of what's new in my fountain pen therapy studios. We'll take a look at some pens, paper, inks again, and then we'll take a look at YouTube reviews, some of the reviews by other reviewers to see if there's anything there that attracted my interest. I'll take a look at what we did this week at the Fountain Pen Therapy YouTube channel and what's in store for you guys next week or in the future. So there you have a kind of a summary for those of you who are joining me for the first time. And you know what? Without any further ado, stay tuned for Fountain Pen Therapy's weekly recap for March 23rd, 2025. We're back. Hope you're all doing well. I know I am. I had a really busy week, but you have some of those weeks where you not stressful week, just a lot of work, and that's what I call good stress. Especially in my instance, where I'm a lawyer and I charge an hourly fee. So, the more, the money you make is the hours that you spend, right? There's no way around it. If it's an hour that you charge, it's an hour. If you're lucky, you charge it. And then, as I like to say, I'm creating receivables, right? Having said all of that, let's leave work aside and let's get to my fountain pen therapy for you. First thing on the agenda is the Chinese pen market. What have I got for you? Well, it's not as busy as I thought it would be. But having said that, let me go to my computer and I'll show you what I've got in store for you here, or what I noticed. Okay, this is the AliExpress order sheet, my order sheet. First of all, we've got this Ongdian N25 Year of the Snake pen. So I guess this must be their flagship, year holiday pen, if you will. It comes in green and blue. I've ordered the green, And you can get it in their normal Ongdian nibs, or you can get it in these hand-polished nibs or long knife nibs. I ordered 2 nibs. I've ordered it with the fine, its original fine nib, which I'm assuming is an Ongdian nib. And then I've also added in a hand-polished medium nib. Last time I ordered a hand-polished medium nib, it was a lemon architect grind medium, which I absolutely adore. I've got it on 4 pens, and those nibs are just fabulous. I'm hoping it's the same one, but we shall see. Next, what else do I have? Yeah, I showed you this last week. This is the ADMOC 28 acrylic. It's still ordered. I think I ordered it with the Schmidt medium nib. I've also ordered this Bachuan paper. This is the paper they also used in the Kimbor agenda, or Kimbor Chinese Abonichi kind of a notebook or yearly agenda. I'm looking forward to receiving this paper because they say that this is essentially the Chinese Tomo River paper. And I'm going to compare it to maybe Tomo River. We'll compare it to the Kimbor agenda that I have and see if there's any difference. I think I mentioned this other pen as well last week, which is the Yangfeng 812. I've ordered the blue resin. Looking forward to seeing what that pen has to offer. I've not received it as yet. And then we've got this Ongdian Ode 100, and that takes us, and we'll take a look at that in a second. I did receive it, so we will take a look at that in just a few seconds. In fact, why don't we... No, we'll come back to that. We'll come back to that. What else have I got for you? Well, Peyton Street, let me just see here. Yeah, I ordered this pen. This is a Ranga 4NC. I didn't have this pen. I have many Ranga pens. This is what it looks like. I forget now if I ordered the Teal Peach Pen A or Teal Peach Pen B. I think it's this darker version. I was incited to do so by Matthew at Wet Pen. He did a beautiful review of Ranga pens, and this is one of them. And so I figured it was time that I ordered a Ranga pen. I hadn't ordered one in a while, so I did order that one. What else have I got for you? Let me just... Yeah, we've got Gold Spot and many other, American and actually even the Italian retailers show this new Lamy All-Star in these 2 colors, this light blue and orange, and then there's kind of a black and yellow there. So those are the 2 new Lamys. For those of you who are into these Lamys, well, there you have it. And what else have I got here? Do they have it? Yeah, they have it. The Navlar Nautilus fountain pen. You'll remember they had come out with a limited edition titanium pen. Well, they've come out with a regular standard edition of... Now, is it exactly the same? I wouldn't be able to tell you. I never got a chance to order the other one. They were sold out pretty quickly. But those of you who enjoy titanium pens, here you have it from Navlar. I just find the $291, I think that's Canadian, for a Navlar pen. I'm not sure. They're not my favorite pens, and certainly at $291, I'm not sure. Even if it's titanium, I'm not sure I'm going to be taking the dive there, folks. Not sure at all. Okay, so that's in terms of what I've got. There's not much out there. Okay, there's nothing really novel that I wasn't, attracted by. That perhaps there is, but not much there. But what I propose to, and I think I want to spend more time on showing you the pen haul that I received this week. So give me a few seconds. We'll set it all up, and I'll show you some pens with some writing, and we'll get to the real thing. Be right back. Okay, so we're back, and as you know, the next section or the segment of this recap, I always like to present to you, if I can, a new paper product, because I'm a fanatic. I don't know how many hundreds of different types of notebooks and different types of paper. I like to try them all. Somebody recommends something to me, I'll purchase it and review it. And this week is, not different from the previous weeks. I have another paper product to propose for you. We're going to take a look at that notebook, and then of course we'll use that notebook alongside with Tomoe River paper to do my ink swatch for the ink all I've got reserved for you this week. So without any further ado, we'll go to my overhead camera and I will show you what I've got for you. Here's the notebook. This is a A5 size notebook. I got to tell you, beautiful feel on this notebook. It's Japanese quality, well bound. It is referred to as the TSUBAME. Let me just make sure I've already butchered the name. TSUBAME. TSUBAME from Japan. It is a A5 ruled with 100 sheets. There's the rule. The rules are 7 millimeters, and there are 24 lines per page. The paper is referred to as Foolus, Foolus paper. And I bought this one on Amazon, and it cost $22 Canadian plus import fees if applicable, etc., etc. So that is the notebook. Very, very nice. We're going to test it with the ink right away. We'll do some writing on it as well today with some of the pens that I have featuring in perhaps later in the segment. And I'm looking forward to seeing how this paper performs. So there you have it. What we'll do next, as you can see, my ink swatching tools are ready. What we'll do is introduce right away the inks that I have for you today. Be right back. Okay, so we're back for the ink swatching. First of all, the inks. Let's put the paper aside here. These are the 3 inks that I reviewed last week from Hero. Let me just make sure the bottles are tightly and snugly. These are the bottles. We reviewed, this one was black or blue-black. This was just a blue, and this was a coffee brown. So those were the 3 colors we reviewed last week. And these are the 3 colors that we're going to be reviewing this week. We've got for you, let's turn that around. We've got sky blue, we've got red, and dark green. So that should be a nice variety there. We're all set to swatch these 3. In terms of ink swatch from last week, just to give you an idea of how these Aero inks perform, we're back with the ink swatch from last week. This is, of course, on the Tomoe River paper. As you can see, the blue-black, it's got some red sheen there. The dark blue has got some red sheen as well. And a nice coffee brown, thick, with a little bit of line, not line variation, but color shading, if you will, from light to darker. So very, very nice inks, I got to tell you. Very nice and wet, and they perform well. So that was last week's ink swatch. So this week we'll introduce this notebook, the TSUBAME notebook. By the way, just noticed it has an index with the contents and the page, and then it starts. The pages are not numbered per se, but supposedly there are 100 sheets. So there you have it. We'll ink that on the first page. Here's my Tomoe River. And I think we are all set. So Let's first do this sky blue. I was expecting it to be a little bit lighter, to tell you the truth. I thought it would be my favorite color, which is these days turquoise, but not quite. It's or maybe it'll look different after it dries, but there you have it. Now, just hoping that I didn't mix up the sky blue with the dark blue of last week. If we did, it will appear on us right away. So, yeah, as I was saying, this color is kind of really drying up, and I don't see any light blue or in that color at all. So the top of this bottle, the cap, is a little bit misleading. You get the and even the advertising, you get the feeling that you're getting a turquoise, but not quite. Now, I did forget to introduce another major actor in this activity, which is the pen. What I thought I'd do is that I'd use 3 huge giant pens. I'm going to be looking at these pens in one of the future segments here in this recap, when we're going to take a look at the Mammoth number 9 that I reviewed this week. At the same time, I want to give you a comparison. Some of you have asked, how does it compare to? How does it compare to? Well, I thought I'd do a little bit of a comparison. And while I was inking the pens, I figured, why don't I ink the pens and use them for the purposes of this ink swatching session as well. So there you have it. So this is the Hero. You could see that the color when you write is quite different. So this is the Hero Sky Blue, and I'm writing now. What are we going to put here? I forget what we put. You know what? We're just going to put. This is the what is it? The Splendor, Aranga anyway. I'll give you the name later on. And it's got a 1.1 stub. So as you can see, the color, at least first sight anyway, when you write with this ink is very different. But I've got a feeling that, yeah, you can see as it dries, that red sheen just pops. Really, really nice. So here, we'll do here and see how. And this is Aranga. This nib's got a little bit of a scratch. I'm going to have to tune it. Don't recall it having that originally, but I just washed it, so I didn't drop it anywhere, but just sense that it's got a little bit of, the tines are not quite perfect. There you have it. I mean, the red does sheen in this paper as well, a little bit less, but nonetheless is there. So this beautiful cracked ice Ranga, we'll take a look at it later and I'll tell you exactly what the model is. So that's the, why don't we do the red next? Yeah, that's a nice red, kind of on the orange side of things, if you will. It's not a dark red. Oh, no, forgot to swatch the other paper. Yeah. It goes down a little orangey. I would say to you it's more of an orange right now anyway than a red. Nice orange. And the pen that we're going to do this with is that Canwrite Mammoth number 9 nib pen that I reviewed this week. For those of you who haven't seen the video, take a look at it. Look at this beautiful nib with an ebonite feed. So very nice. So this is the Hero Red. And this is with the Canwrite number 9 steel nib. Wow, let me tell you, this pen is just a joy to write with. You know, I've never had actually long writing sessions with these giant pens. I'm going to have to try that this week. So what I'll do is I'll take these 3 pens and put them in my weekly stash or my weekly inked for next week and see how I deal with with these pens on a daily basis. So this is Hero Red with the Canwrite number 9 steel nib. Yeah, on this paper, I would say to you that it appears to be fountain pen friendly, no doubt. We'll take a look at it at the end, but the lining or the line is much thinner here as opposed to Tomoe River. We know that Tomoe River has a tendency to make every line slightly wider than it actually should be or is. So as if it's a fine, it borders on the medium just because the paper is so juicy. That's what I would say. Fontaine de Plume would argue that it's messy, but I'm arguing that it's juicy. So we'll do the green. First touch, when I open this up, I get a turquoise there. I don't get a dark green, but let's see what gives here. Yeah, I definitely don't see any dark green there. I don't know if they've mixed up the caps. This is more like my sky blue, if nothing else. So I'm going to have to take a look at the order and see if they messed up the order. Because this is not dark green at all. Now, this is a nice color. This to me looks like sky blue. And the other one must be some other blue, but it's certainly not dark green. I had, forecasted a green ink for a green pen, or a green pen for a green ink. This is another Ranga Giant. This, I think, is the Splendor Peak. So let's see how it writes. Yeah, a little more greenish in there when you write, but for the time being, I will put dark green, but I really have my doubts. This is a Ranga pen, and it's got a is it 1.1 or 1? Yeah, it's a 1.1 steel stub. No, it's coming down as turquoise here. It's not, there's no green here at all. We'll see what it looks like when it all dries up, but I can't believe that light blue will suddenly turn into green, dark green. I can't see that happening. So this is Hero, and again, dark green. Maybe I'll put a big question mark on both swatches, and we'll investigate further. Ranga 1.1 steel stub. Regardless of the name of or the color of this ink as given to it by AliExpress, the ink is very nice. So may have made a mistake on the color description, but the ink is extremely, extremely, extremely nice. Okay, so those are my swatches. As one viewer reminded me, take your time, Vincent. Get it all nice and dry before we move on. So stay tuned. I will be right back. Okay, folks. Spoiler alerts. No wonder. I just got the green in the mail. As I was finishing up this video, the doorbell rang and AliExpress was delivering the green. So that other blue is in fact blue as opposed to being green. This is supposed to be the dark green. So let's do this again, and hopefully we'll get this green officially on paper. Is it green? Yes or no? Yes, indeed. And yes, it does look like a nice dark green. You know, more and more I'm starting to like green as an alternative to blue. It's a very pleasant color. So why not, right? And the pen that I've chosen for this green will be this ASVINE from Ranga. And this is the Grand ASVINE. So finally we have it. So this is Hero Dark. And you'll excuse the dirt on my fingers. This is a Ranga. And it's a Schmidt nib on this pen. Number 6. Steel, and it's a broad. Okay. Okay, let's see what it looks like on this paper. It's actually very pleasant, you know, this paper. Very, very pleasant. It's kind of a controlled line. Very neat. And streamlined. Much more streamlined than the Tomoe River. So this is more controlled. This one is kind of a little more absorbent, if you will. So there you have it. So far, so good. Give me a few seconds to have this thing dry up, and then we'll come back and give some final comments. Okay, so we're back with the green ink. You know what? I like the green shade better on this paper than I do on the Tomoe River. On the Tomoe River, there's a bit of green sheen, but it's kind of a bluish tint. Whereas on this paper, it really comes out a little more green, if you know what I mean. So it just goes to show you the difference that you can have when you use different paper. But this is a very good notebook. I recommend it. Very, very nice. Very nice. So there you have it. We've controlled the situation. We actually do have green now, which I thought perhaps they just made a mistake and sent me the wrong one, but they've sent me blue and green. So figure it out. Thank you very much. Okay, we're back with it's actually a mixture of things that I want to show you that has come into the Fountain Pen Studios this week. Lots of stuff, lots of great stuff. So first things first. This is the Ongdian 100, okay? I had originally, this is the original Ongdian 100 that I had purchased months and maybe years ago. And as you can tell, it is a piston filler. There is a star there, but the star is gold. It is a piston filler. And whoops, I mixed them up. Wouldn't you know it? That's because that's wishful thinking, and I'll explain that in a second. Okay, here we go. Yeah, this is the original I received. It was it is, and it still is, a piston filler with a big, kind of clear ink window with the original Ongdian, but it's that second version nib, which is, it's got a little bit of a spring in it. And that's essentially the pen. It kind of celebrates 100 anniversary, and that was the pen. Now, what I noticed they came up with was this pen, which they called the Ongdian 100 Ode, ODE, or Ode 100. And the difference being that all of a sudden you have a red star on the finial. The piston filler is still a piston filler, but the ink window is this material here. As you can see, is just little slots there, as opposed to a clear window. The nib is like their first version nib with the 1997 year on it, which I found was very stiff. So I don't think that this is a new edition. This must be the old edition that came out in the Chinese market, and for the Western market, they must have taken out that red on that red star, which some people take offense to. I don't, but some people do. And that's why it explains that original version nib. Now, in the advertising, they were trying to claim that this was a new nib, a springy, flexy nib. It's not flexy at all. Let me show you. This is the Ongdian. I mean, this is as stiff as a nail. With the original old style nib. And it is wet and smooth, fairly constant. I mean, I received this pen last week. I actually prepared a review for you, but I decided that I'm not going to publish it because it's the same pen. There's no point. You can see my review of the old the original review that I have published months ago. And frankly, I prefer the other one. I think what I prefer is the red star. So that's why I had switched. I had switched them before I even started my presentation. So that is this 100 Ode, which I don't recommend you spend more money on. If you've got this one, there's no point. In fact, as you can see, look at the difference. This is just the Ongdian 100. It's got the new version of a fine nib. And look at this. It's so wet and juicy. So this has more spring, much wetter. And very constant. I mean, you can see the difference. This is really, really to the point where, am I dealing with a medium here maybe? Yeah, okay. This is a medium, in fact. Okay, so it's not a fine. I was wondering why it was so thick. It is a medium nib. But I didn't have a choice. for that one, there was either extra fine or fine. But I would prefer this one. I like the ink window better here. Yes, if I can get the red star, now that I have it, I'm just going to switch, frankly. But other than that, there is absolutely, I don't see any difference. The pen is nice. If you haven't ordered one yet, I would strongly recommend one. Very nice pen. It is metal, but it's got beautiful comfort level. It's a piston filler. I would recommend it. But if you already have one, don't spend your money and get that other Ode 100. It's just not worth it. It's the same, essentially the same pen. What else have I ordered? Well, I've been raving about this Wingsung 630. And I had this kind of a light blue, so I decided to get a red. And then I'm going to get the black as well. This is the Wingsung 630 in a burgundy finish. So, as you know, I like to always ink a red pen or a red ink pen for the week, where I use this at work for corrections and for highlighting, etc. So that's my red. It's going to be one of my future red ink pens. And got to tell you, it's it's a 149 essentially, but it's for just $30, whatever it is, as opposed to $1,200. Unfortunately, my blue one doesn't have this problem. It's got this it's kind of stuck here, it's sticky. But at the end of the day, it serves to really keep it nice and tight and wet and sealed. I just wish it was a little smoother. I thought that that little hick was only in the flat pen version of the 630 or the flat heads, the flat finials. But now I see it here as well. So it is some people might really get turned off by it. I don't, just because the nib on this thing, I mean, it is one of my favorite pens right now. It writes like a gold nib. And I know some of my viewers ask, what would you take? This? This is the pen I recommend. If you like big pens and you want to, I think one viewer said, what about, a Grail pen, a cheap Grail pen that looks like a Grail pen? And, he gave me various choices. This is a beautiful imitation of of the 149, I can tell you that. Okay, so that's the second thing that came in. Third thing that came in is that I finally went for, this is the Majon P139. I had that orange, and I always felt that this orange is kind of a bleh orange resin, kind of flat, I went with the orange just because I'm a Dolce Vita, as some of you may know. The Dolce Vita Oversize is the Grail pen of a lifetime for me. Nothing will beat it. Very emotional video if you take a look at it when I unboxed my Dolce Vita. So I figured I'd go with the classic Dolce Vita look. I know it's a Hemingway imitation, Hemingway Mont Blanc, but I think it's a Dolce Vita look. But look at the difference when you order the white. I don't know if all of the white versions were like this originally, but I certainly got fooled. It's got some sparkle in there with some color. Very, very nice. I'm glad I ordered the white. And of course, you can predict what kind of ink I put in there. So this is the Majon. Wow. P139. Okay, and it's the medium nib. Talk about a juicy gusher. It's a gusher, folks. And I put in one of those Hero. Did I put the Hero blue? I think it's the Hero blue that I put in here. But let me tell you, with that big number 8 size nib, piston filler, great mechanism from what I understand, Very nice nib. So I'm glad I added this to my collection. Of course, for those of you who didn't catch last week's video, I've been playing around with my new Aurora Flex nib. Wow, folks, if you can get your hands on one of these nibs, I would not hesitate. It's not a real flex, but it's so springy and so much fun. I've been having fun with this Aurora all week. You know, Chinese pens are nice. Don't get me wrong. Price is really reasonable, but you know, if you can get your hands on one of these Aurora with these beautiful nibs, you know, that flex nib is really, really, really nice. I just a wonderful, wonderful writing experience. Okay, so that's that. Now, what else did I get? Oh yes, I got this Jinhao 10. Isn't that a beautiful pen? Finally got one. It compares to the real thing. This is my real. This is a real. When I say real, you know, the original Pilot Vanishing Point. It's got a 14 karat nib, and it's a stub. Pretty damn close, folks. Pretty damn folks. And the mechanism is really nice. This Jinhao, I think, cost me $25. This thing cost me over $150. So this is the Jinhao 10. It's got a fine nib, and but that fine nib really, really writes nicely. I'm not sure if I'm going to do a pen review, but maybe I will, and we'll do a more in-depth comparison. But there you have it. For those of you who like these pens, very nice. Recommended, especially for the price. And they have beautiful resins now out there. Every week they come out with new ones. Very nice, very nice. Just to show you that this is the original. So this is the Pilot Vanishing Point. And it's got a 14 karat stub. So it has a tendency to skip a little bit, but that's probably the way I hold the nib more than anything else. But it's still, the line variation is very, very nice. Now, all to compare it with my Majon A1. Now, this pen came originally with the fine nib, which is right here. That's the fine nib that it came with. And I just absolutely hated this nib. It was just too fine for my taste. It was scratchy. I just did not like it. And I didn't even bother trying to fix it because I don't use these kind of capless pens that often. But what I saw was Saint Pen PPS, not Pen BBS, but Pen PPS, Chinese pens, I think, Bobby, sold a medium nib that goes with this A1. I'm not sure if that medium nib can also go in the Jinhao, but this is the Majon. Take a look at that now. Majon A1 with a medium Bobby. I'll call it the Bobby nib. You can purchase. Look how juicy that is. Now we're talking. Maybe it's just because I'm not a fan of those scratchy, fine nibs in those capless pens. So I've just really fixed this one right now, in my view. So anybody who's interested, in fact, let me just go give me a second. I'm going to show you this website I'm talking about, because I think it's worthwhile that we go through that for some of you who may not know what I'm talking about. Where is he? Where is he? Where is he? Here we go. Okay, just give me a second. We will. There we go. This is his site. The wonderful thing about this site, and it's Saint Pen PPS, Chinese pen, is that he's got all kinds of accessories and modified nibs. Look at this. He's got this wedge here to open up your tines. He's got parts like this piston filler in case yours fails. He's got different nibs and nib grinds, stubs of all kinds. Look at this. He's got parts for these kind of hooded nibs. He's got his own Bobby handmade hooded nibs or with special grinds. And look, he's got these special Fude nibs and architect grinds. He's got all kinds of products. And as a matter of fact, that brings me to another pen that I received this week. And this was from, actually, before we do the pen, talking about accessories, I purchased this from Chinese Pens. I think it came it was very useful because it allowed me to replace that nib on the A1. So if you want to pull out a nib and not, it's got kind of a plastic coating right there, very useful. He added in some kind of a blade. This must be a blade that you could use to open up tines, I guess, and this kind of plastic rubber band that you could use to pull out nibs. So I ordered that, so I finally have that in my tools. But I also finally ordered this Wing Sung SO1, except I think he modified that nib to a medium nib. So I haven't written with this yet, so let's take a look at what this looks like. So this is the, did I ink this pen? Oh no, I forgot to ink it. So 1 second, folks, I'll be right back. Oh, before I ink it, I had opened it up originally to ink it, and I saw this. And I said, geez, that's weird. How am I going to ink this pen? Is this I thought maybe it was a vacuum filler at the start. It's got an O-ring there. Maybe I'll review this pen in detail. So I said, wow, how am I supposed to fill? And then I realized that with the pen, I received instructions. And when I looked at the instructions, I saw that it was kind of a pump filler. And I said, pump filler? I don't see any. But lo and behold, there it is. Isn't that done nicely? You can hardly see it. Reminds me of the Lamy 2000. And there's the pump. So, you know what? Give me a second. I wanted to show you that before. Yeah, so the pump mechanism is here, or pump filler. I forget what they call it. So I'm hoping that works. So give me a second. We're going to put this Hero Sky Blue ink in there, and we'll do a writing. Okay, so I've inked the pen. One thing I don't like about this pen so far, and I haven't written with it, so that verdict is still out, is listen to this. You hear that grind? I don't like the fact that that closure is not ideal in my view. But let's take a look at how it writes. I'm hoping, do you see the nib? It's got this beautiful tip to it, nice and thick. So I'm hoping he gives me a really huge line. Okay, so this is the, oh yeah, Wing Sung 601A. with a medium nib. Oh, baby. This is a very, very nice pen. It is so comfortable in your hands. How does it feel decent post-it? Oh, yeah. Yes, indeed. Wow. Recommended. Visit Saint ST Pen PPS, Chinese pen. He has the pens or has things for sale in Etsy, on the Etsy site or on the AliExpress site. And if you don't own one of these 601As, beautiful. That's going into my weekly pen haul for next week. We'll use that bunch. Very, very nice. So that kind of sums up my week. Isn't that nice, though? I mean, you've got to admit, there's quite a bit of pens here and hauls. You know, they were coming in, folks, like gangbusters. Let me just go over the overhead camera. At the same time, I'm going to take a shot for my here we go. This is the weekly pen haul, and we'll throw in the wrench at the same time. So there you have it. This is useful, by the way, folks. Yeah, you should. I think we should all have one in our toolbox. Very, very useful. And these are kind of the pens that I wanted to highlight. These two I didn't speak of, but it just to you've seen it already. The difference between a fine and an old fine in the Aurora. So I introduced that last week. I thought that there was really no need to do it again. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed that. Stay tuned for the next segment. Okay, the next segment, of course, I'm going to show you what currently inked. What I had, right now in my pen case, my 12 pen pen case, and what I use during the week, and I change every week. I try to give it a different twist every week, and so I get to use all my pens, and at the same time I can show you all the pens I have because I have hundreds. So here we go. Let's go to my overhead. This is what I showed you to be actually I added one pen compared to last week when I showed you what I would use this week, because that's what I do every week now. First of all, I got to tell you, all week I use this Amazon Basics cheap paper and absolutely loved it. So if you're looking for cheap paper to just draft notes and write notes and then you chuck away the notes. First of all, my red pen for the week. Oh, well, let me just explain first of all. I've got my three Amigos here. These are my three Mont Blancs. I've got the Mont Blanc 149, the 140, well, it's a 146 size, but it's a pencil, and then there's a ballpoint. Ballpoint I use largely to sign some letters. Most of the time, the pencil is a pencil, and my Mont Blanc, well, if nothing else, it never fails. Okay, the pens that I really ended up using the most, I always have a red pen in my repertoire as well, is this modified big pen imitation of the Urushi. And with the Michael Green section here, this is a nib section made out of ebonite with a Jinao number 8 nib. He managed to modify that. So now you turn this pen, which is a really cheap metal pen, into a pen that at least has a big size nib and that writes wonderfully, by the way. So this is the big pen. That's the way when it came out, with a Mike Green hack for the nib. And I had this red version and this green version. Both, well, yeah, that one dried up a little bit. Oh, I think there's no more ink. Gets me, let me just see. Yeah. No, it dried up, folks. So, not the greatest. I didn't use this one that often. So, in a week, it dries up. I mean, it's a $20 pen, so can't expect too much. The other one that I really, I mentioned this earlier. This is the TI 136 Majon, but with that lemon hand-polished medium nib that's got a little bit of a kind of an architect grind. So let me look at this, folks. On this paper, it just and this paper, it was wonderful all week. So I've decided that I'm going to order a bit more of this stock paper, which is really cheap. So this pen for me is along with the 630, very nice. The Author Lotus also was used. Yeah, used to the point I have no more ink. This was used my long writing session during one of my court sessions where I took a bunch of notes. So that's always very handy. I also used my new Aurora Talentum. Let me just see if yeah. And this one's got a medium Aurora nib. Very nice. And I got my little Pelican M600 with, always have a roll ball. Right now, this is it. So this is the Pelican. Really writes like a fountain pen. M6. It's not an M600. It's the R600. R for rollerball. And I believe this is the medium. A lot of rollerballs just kind of stall on you after a while, but this thing, let me tell you, it really writes like a fountain pen. Very nice. So that's essentially, did I write with my wave? A little bit. This is the Lotus wave. Here again, let me see if it's still, yeah. So this is the Lotus wave. I mean, it's got that beautiful wave in the pen. Really nice with a 1.1 stub. And as you can see, I like to kind of add colors to my, I don't only have boring black and blue. I think this is a green one. Well, this is green, but it dried up on me. I didn't use it much. Did I use, this is the other Lotus Author. Yeah. No, this dried up on me as well. I don't think I used this all week, though. There you have it. Nah, dries up. I got to check why. But there you have it. And then, of course, didn't use this all week. This is the Mont Blanc 149. Let's see if I'm right. Look at that. We can say all we want about Montblancs and how they're overpriced, but you know, objectively speaking, there's no complaints over that nib, I can tell you. Is it worth $1,002? Maybe not. But I cherish this pen. It was given to me by my wife, so it just made the whole thing all more palatable, so to speak. So there you have my pens and, you know, my writing pad for the week. I hope you enjoyed that. What we're going to do is we're going to put those 12 pens away, and I'm going to propose to you the next 12 pens that I will be using next week. Be right back. Okay, so here are the 12 pens that I've chosen for this upcoming week, starting tomorrow. Here we go. Same pad. I like these pads. I'm going to order some. I think I'm going to keep my 3 Amigos here, the 3 Montblancs, pencil, ballpoint, and the 149. I know I'm going to miss this pen, so I've decided to put it in. This is that TI, the Majon TI. Look at this. I mean, with this paper, it's just 136. Okay, with that special medium architect grind. Lemon grind. It's too bad they sell these nibs for about $30. I think it's a little bit overpriced, but let me tell you, the writing experience is wonderful. Yeah, so I bought this pen, or was delivered this week, so we're going to use it this week. This is going to be the Majon P139. Number 8 size nib. I think we're going to have fun with this one. Why not? Writes really nice. We're going to, my red pen for the week is going to be that Wingsung 630 that I just received. That's me. Okay, so at least that's one of them. But I do have another one that I want to try for the week, which is this Mammoth number 9 size nib. Look at that. It doesn't fit here. I'm going to have to find a special pen case for it. But this is the, and it's so comfortable. So this is the can write. That's me. Mammoth number 9. There you go. So we'll use this big can write. See if it works all week. This is my Ranga Peak, Splendor Peak. Peak, I don't know if it's EA or EE, forget. And my other Ranga, this is the Model 5, I think it is. Ranga Model 5 Crashed Ice. Or, yeah, crushed colors anyway. Actually, you know what? I'm going to remove this from my, this is the scratchy one. Yeah, no. I'm going to remove this. I got to repair this. I'm going to remove this and replace it with something else. What am I going to replace it with? Well, you know what? I'll think about it and we shall see. Oh, the other one, of course, is I'm going to put in this new nibbed Majon A1 with a medium nib. And of course, I'm going to be using this Wingsong .601A, also with a medium nib. And a week could not be a week without a beautiful Aurora. And this is the fine flex nib. Okay, there you have it. I'll think about what to add here. Actually, you know what? No, there's nothing to add. I need to put in my rollerball. So that fits in really nicely. That's it, folks. That's going to be the pens for this week. Stay tuned for my next segment, which will be what? We're going to do some YouTube reviews. Show you what's there, what was there, and what's coming up. Be right back. Okay, so we're back for some YouTube reviews. Here are some of the reviews that I really enjoyed this week and that I would recommend for you in case you haven't already seen them. First of all, we'll put some thumbnails up so you can see them. I'm looking at my notes right here. Fontaine de Plume. 2 videos that I recommend. The first one is the ASC Bologna. He reviews an expensive ASC Bologna. He actually got it for a very good price. But I've always wondered about ASC. And, you know, I've always had my doubts. And certainly this Bologna is a complete disaster. Stay away from it. And Fontaine de Plume explains to you why. The only salvaging aspect of the pen is the look of the celluloid. But once you open it up and once you start writing with it, although the nib is not the bad part, the rest of it is a disaster. He also reviews the Mayora Ogaiva. Mayora being one of my favorite brands just because of Nino Marino, my friend from Naples. And I'm glad he liked the pen. He really gave it some very nice reviews. You can get that pen in either gold nibbed or steel nib. And I think the steel nib version is really on sale now these days. So you can pick it up for maybe 250 euros about, which is a good price in my view. Next, Teresa Harris, very loyal viewer of this channel and a reviewer herself, reviewed this Esterbrook cube that everybody's raving about. Personally, I don't like it. But a lot of people do. And so it's worthy of mention. And she goes through the whole thing. She shows you what can fit and what can't fit. And if it fits your fancy, then, you know, she gives you a really nice look at that product. Next, what do we have? Well, we have my friend Hemingway Jones, 2 videos with Drew Brown, where he interviews Drew Brown and then Drew Brown does interview him. There's not much talk about pens, if you will, but a lot of other stuff, but really interesting stuff. It kind of gives you a little more insight into Mr. Brown and my friend Hemingway Jones. So always entertaining. There you have it. And lastly, I recommend Alexandra Richardson. Alexandra reviewed that new titanium Navlar pen. So if those of you who are interested in that pen, well, she does a review. So there you have it. What have we got for my Fountain Pen Studios YouTube reviews? Well, show up on the screen. Of course, you got my recap of last week. Again, the recaps are meant not only to be punctual in terms of weekly news, but there's all kinds of, you know, neat stuff that is covered in those recaps. You know, like ink swatching, you know, pen reviews, some currently inked, and you've got notebooks. So there's a lot more in those recaps than just a recap of the week. So I recommend it in case you have not seen it. Then, of course, take a look at my Can Write Mammoth number 9 review. And we'll come back to that mammoth in a second, because there was one viewer that asked me some questions. On the block, that's in the sort of that's in the mix for the future. We've got my Cypress pen review. We've got a comparison of low-priced vacuum fillers. I've got my review of the Radius Settimo, the review of my Stipula Lucens, my Part 3 comprehensive guide, that might go on this week, and my ASVINE collection video. I've got it, I've been repeating these for a while. I think I've got to put them on the block. Like this week, maybe I'll publish 2 reviews. Yes, I forgot to mention that this week I also, and I'll put it up on just the thumbnail, I also had the number 8 more questions for 2025. Take a look at that, get some of my own personal views and answer to some popular questions. So there you have it. Now, in terms of pen itches and questions or the Q&A, 2 things I want to cover. First of all, it's unanimous. Not unanimous. I think there was only one viewer. I said, what do you think, folks, between the Leonardo pens that have that big juicy Le Fenice number 8 nib? The pens range anywhere between 600 euros to 900 euros, which is in excess of $1,200 Canadian. Or do I go for the Pilot Custom Marushi, the big one? And 95% of you said go for the Pilot. So the itch is on, folks. I'll let you know. I will let you know. It's an expensive pen. I will let you know. What else? Oh, some of you asked me to take a look at, compare the Mammoth number 9 size nib can write to some of the Rangas. And here they are. Let me just flip over to my overhead camera. Here's the Mammoth. And this is an old can write. I forget the model. Not a very good pen. Small nib. It always leaks on me. I always have to heat set that ebonite feed. Too much of a pain. I would not recommend it, whatever it is. Then what have I got? I've got all the Rangas. This is the Samurai. This is the Splendor. Actually, I should put the Splendor here because there's 2 Splendors. There's the Splendor Peak, which is a flat top, and then you have the ordinary Splendor. These are the 2 Model 5 Rangas in this crushed ice and in this mustard. And then here's the Mammoth. Now, all of these pens, this is the Grand, this is just a giant size Abimu, but it is much smaller, but it's the Grand, it's the larger sized. I think all of these other pens, as giant as they may be, come with number 6 size nibs. Only that Splendor comes with a number 8 titanium. And don't get me wrong, you can get number 8 nibs on these, but I chose not to spend the money on that. I did spend it on this one. So there's the comparison of these 2 pens. You can see how huge. Let me just maybe close up here. Yeah, how much bigger that Mammoth is as compared to a number 8 size Bock titanium nib. Both wonderful, but that nib is really, really big. And you know what? Very, very, very comfortable pen. So for those of you who have not seen the review, you're most welcome to digest it and take a look at that. You may be actually pleasantly surprised. There you have it. I'm back. One thing I forgot to mention, and you'll forgive me if this is just inserted somewhere in this recap, but I filmed this at the end because I remembered it at the end after everything had already been videotaped. But ASVINE reached out to me. Now, things are going well with my channel when a Chinese pen company reaches out to me. And it was actually Sally from ASVINE who... not Sally, I forget her name, but it's the owner of the ASVINE, or the operator of the ASVINE store. And she contacted me and figured out, I guess, by looking at some of the videos, that we were having some dry nib issues with the C2000, the ASVINE C2000. You remember that huge stable wood pen? And she informed me that ASVINE has come up with a fix. It's actually a gasket that you could apply. I don't know what this gasket looks like, but she said to me that she will be sending me about 10 of those. And at the same time, she also indicated that they will be up for sale on the ASVINE site on Amazon sometime soon with a discount, I believe. I don't know if she's going to send me a discount code or if there's going to be a discount already applied, because I think with Amazon you're not allowed discount codes. I forget what the rules are. In any event, there's a fix, folks, a good fix, one from the factory, if you will. So, I mean, that's nice of ASVINE to reach out to their consumers and realize there is an issue, and to subsequently repair that faux pas. So that's very nice. They also said that they would keep in touch with me. I asked them to let me know if there's any novelties from ASVINE coming up. She took my coordinates, my email, and she said she would. So, you know what? We might be getting some stuff from ASVINE before others do. And it's always a nice thing if it happens. And I think it's to the advantage not only of me. I love if they would do that, but I think it's to the advantage of the viewers as well, because if you can get some of the information firsthand, or like Doodlebud does, right? He's very popular, and of course they've reached out to him and maybe others. But in any event, that's where we're at. So hopefully they will reach out in the future, and as soon as I get those gaskets, I'll let you know. We'll put up the fix. We'll do a short video, and I think she's going to accompany that with a short video on how to apply that gasket, I guess. So that's very nice of them. Anyway, thought I'd mention that. There you go, folks. Folks, that's done. It's done. Another recap. Hope you enjoyed it. Try to give you some variety. Trying to keep up with all this. But let me tell you, this is so much fun. This is so much fun. And I know I could break these things up into many videos, but you know what? I just want to give it to you all as much as I can, folks, as much as I can. So have a great week. We're going to try to put 2 videos up this week. Maybe just split them up. Maybe one on Tuesday and one on Thursday. We shall see. We'll make a decision at the last moment. There you have it. Grazie molto. If you haven't, please subscribe. It will help. And if you like this video, thumbs up. Grazie molto. Thank you very much. Lots of fountain pen therapy. Have a great week.